U.S. made an assessment about the type of weapons training or what type of training the North Korean soldiers are undergoing in Russia that could potentially be used in Ukraine? And does this represent a new type of an agreement in terms of an information sharing agreement between the North Koreans and the Russians?
I don't believe we have a very specific assessment at this time of the exact nature of all the training. There's 3 sites that we assess right now that this first tranche of about 3,000 are being trained. I think I could go so far as to say that at least in general terms, it's basic kind of combat training and familiarization. I think I could go as far as that and no further. But as I also said, we're going to monitor this and watch this closely. And obviously, if we have more information that we can share with you, we certainly will. To your second question about information sharing, as I've said before in answer to Amr, we have been watching this relationship grow and deepen now for many, many months. And the question that we're asking ourselves, and we don't have an answer for right now, is what does Kim Jong-un think he's getting out of this? And so you talked about information sharing. I mean, maybe that's part of this. Maybe it's technology. Maybe it's capabilities. We don't have a good sense of that. But that's what's so concerning to us is not only the concern for the impact on the war in Ukraine, but the impact that this could have in the Indo-Pacific with Kim Jong-un benefiting to some degree.
Can you talk about that just briefly? Like, how significant is this for the U.S. allies in the region and the U.S. as a whole?
It could be significant. Again, we don't know enough right now. So when you say region, I think you mean Indo-Pacific. Until we have a better sense of what the North Koreans at least believe they're getting out of this, as opposed to what they actually get, it's hard to know and to put a metric on exactly what the impact is in the Indo-Pacific. But it is concerning. It's been concerning. Certainly this development, this willingness of Kim to literally put skin in the game here. Soldiers in Russia for the potential deployment, and we haven't seen him deployed, but for the potential deployment, certainly would connote an expectation that he thinks he's getting something out of this.
You mentioned that the U.S. is discussing how we would possibly respond. What are the possibilities for how the U.S. could respond to this?
Well, for one thing, we're going to continue to surge security assistance, as I just mentioned in my topper. And you're going to continue to see, the President has made it clear that we're going to continue to provide security assistance all the way up to the end of his administration for sure. So you're going to see that continue to flow, and we're talking to allies and partners about what the right next steps ought to be. I'm not at liberty today to go through any specific options, but we're going to have those conversations, and we have been.
And China is a critical trading partner to North Korea. What's the U.S. assessment for how China is looking at all of this?
We don't know how President Xi and the Chinese are looking at this. One would think that if you take their comments at face value about desiring stability and security in the region, particularly on the Korean Peninsula, one would think that they're also deeply concerned by this development. But you can expect that we'll be communicating with the Chinese about this, and certainly sharing our perspectives to the degree we can, and gleaning theirs.
And local South Korean press is reporting that, according to intelligence, these troops, North Korean troops, lack understanding of modern warfare, such as drone attacks, and it's anticipated there will be a high number of casualties when deployed to the front lines.
Too soon to know. I mean, we don't really know what they're going to be used for, where they're going to, if they're going to deploy, where they're going to deploy, and to what purpose. I can tell you one thing though: if they do deploy to fight against Ukraine, they're fair game. They're fair targets. And the Ukrainian military will defend themselves against North Korean soldiers the same way they're defending themselves against Russian soldiers. And so the possibility that there could be dead and wounded North Korean soldiers fighting against Ukraine is absolutely real if they get deployed.